800 watt hour. Woo! I wonder what they were thinking, because this is bad. It's not good. Updated geometry, flip chip, all the good stuff there. It's just those two specs. I give this out of the box shreddability. Welcome to Frankie's eMTB channel. It is a buyer's market, and I know lots of you are looking at this exact model, the giant Rain E+3, because your local bike shop may have a huge discount. I'm gonna take you through my mental process of how I approach a bike, rate them, and then ultimately decide if it's a great buy or not. I've worked in the manufacturing side a few years back, and I've come across a few of these BOM sheets and have helped brands with cost saving. Hopefully I can take that knowledge and pass it on to you all. To be honest, I don't think many brands will like what I'm doing, since I'm just critiquing their hard work. But as a consumer of these e-bikes myself, I really want the best possible spec with the best possible prices. So with that said, hit that like button. I'll start with the geometry, then work our way to the components, then on to my recommendations. So if you feel like skipping to the important parts, use the chapter timestamps below. Disclaimer, this is only a spec and value talk and not a ride review video. I'm just trying to spot some pros and cons so you can make an informed decision. All right, let's check out the basics of this bike. All right, let's log into the website. Trail Technology. So this bike is a 160mm travel bike, and it has the Sync Drive Pro, which is at 85 Nm of torque. Looking at the range, y'all see that? Energy pack, 800 watt hour. Woo! That is a lot of power. You're gonna be riding all day, every day, until you are tired with that 800 watt hour battery. That is a lot of miles. That is insane amount of miles. The bike is an aluminum frame, Maestro suspension. These are all great things to come out of Giant. Fork is 170mm travel. So this is a full-on enduro bike, 160, 170. Let's see if it's a mullet or is it a 29er. So if we look at the wheels, rims, so the Giant AM 29-inch front, 27.5 in the rear. So this is a mullet mixed wheel, 27.9. Crazy. I did not know this bike is an 800 watt hour. I mean, it is a big looking bike, right? So look at that. I mean, the blue color is really nice, and I like how they have that double colored on the down tube. Nice looking, sleek. That chainstay looks pretty short compared to the rest of the bike, so it could prove to be a poppy, playful bike, but I won't know until we look further in. 800 watt hour, man. Holy crap. It's huge. All right, let's look at the geometry. Geometry is always a good place to start to determine what type of ride this bike is. If we look at the sizing first, so I'm 5'8", so their medium size go from 5'7" to 6, so I'm right at the medium. It's strange that with my sizing, I use inches instead of centimeters, and then when I go into all the other stuff, I use the metric system instead of the imperial. Reach, chainstay, head tube angle, and wheelbase. And starting with the reach, I said I'm 5'8", and their recommended size for me is a medium. So we'll be looking at the medium, and the reach is 450 and 455, depending on the flip chip position. That's perfect. 450, 455. My turbo level is at 451, I believe, 452. And that's just the right size for me. It's just perfect. Just perfect for the way I ride. It's not too far, it's not too close. A too long of a reach would be somewhere around 470mm for me. And 470mm would put me in that attack position, more hunched, hinged riding attack position. Chainstay at 454. Remember, this is an enduro bike, and enduro bike is built for lots of downhill. So the chainstay does want to be a little bit longer than like an all-mountain 150mm travel bike like the Turbo Levo. So the chainstay is at 454 across. No changes within the flip chip. 454 is pretty standard. It is standard for a 160mm bike. This is a good size. I mean, it's gonna feel good on the climbs. It's gonna feel good on the down. Enduro bikes nature is not to be playful and poppy. Although bikes like Tim Peak, they went to like 430 something, which is pretty crazy. And it does feel very poppy with that 10 Peak. Head tube angle 63.7 or 64.5. 63.7, my Norco range was at 63.5, and big, long wheelbase. Very stable at high speeds, very stable in the steeps. And this is right there too, 64.5, 63, depending on the flip chip. Nice and slack at 63, something you want from an enduro bike. Wheelbase, 1236 and 1237, not much difference between the flip chip. This is gonna be stable. So with those geo numbers, I can say nothing is out of the ordinary. It's not gonna be extremely playful or poppy. It's expected from an enduro bike. And it is designed to go through chunk, roots, steep. So let's check out the pricing first, right? So the pricing is $5,900 for the original MSRP. Discounted down to $5,300, $600 off. It's only a 10% discount, which isn't a lot. It's not a whole bunch. We'll give the rating for the price at the end after we go through all the spec components. Motor, Sync Drive Pro 85 by Yamaha. It's a great motor. Fork, RockShox Domain R29. It is RockShox 38mm budget performance fork. It's not the best, not the worst. You can upgrade dampers again. For enduro bike at 170mm, I find this fork to be fitting because 38mm entry level, it's a good fork and you can upgrade the dampers. So I'll give this a B, but that B only goes for that $5,300. If we're at the original price, $5,009, I put that back down. All right, moving on to the shocks. Shocks is a Fox Float DPS Performance. I wonder what they were thinking because this is bad. It's not good. I mean, the shock itself is not a bad shock, right? But this is an enduro rig. This is a 160mm travel bike with 170mm in the front. So having the Fox DPS for the shocks is kind of weird. This would be a prime example of a spec that's out of the ordinary, I think. I give it a D because the DPS performance on a big enduro bike it's not gonna hold. That's like if we buy the enduro bike for the purpose of doing enduro stuff, plus 800 watt hours of battery with a Fox Float DPS. I mean, even if it's spec for e-bikes, you're still gonna feel the fade of the shocks way faster with that 800 watt hour plus your weight and gear and all that doing enduro stuff. You're gonna feel the fade, definitely feel the fade. So I give this a D. The rear derailleur, Shimano Diore 12 speed. That's just a standard Shimano Diore. Entry level, it is fine for the drivetrain. Base tier e-bike, I think it's okay. Original, if it's at the original 5009, not so good. I would love to see them in the SLX, so I give this a C. For the brakes, they are entry level Dior M420 4 pistons. Good enough brakes for entry level, right? But again, we come back to if it's at 5009, if you saved on the shock, why save on the brake? Right? You're like saving. So when you buy this bike and you want to do enduro stuff, you're gonna be like, I need to upgrade this bike. I guess for the brakes, it's not a deal breaker. So I give the brakes a B-. So moving on to the rims, the wheels. The wheels are a giant AM 29-inch, tubeless ready, 30mm in a width. Those are all standard, but worked on wheels before. The rim itself, the profile itself is probably not a proprietary rim design from Giant. They're probably sourced open model wheels from manufacturers. I can't be 100% sure because they have already slapped the Giant label on there. So with that said, it's an entry level, right? B-. They got EXO Plus, DHF EXO Plus with high roller 2s in the rear. Ooh, high roller 2s. I have not seen high roller 2s spec'd. They are like really old school. Yeah, they got double down. So it's good that, you know, that is an enduro setup. So a good A, solid A for the tires there. Anything out of the ordinary, not much in terms of spec. So out of the box shreddability, new term I coined, meaning that you can take this bike on a chunky, fast, steep, with drops, jumps. Can you take this bike onto those features and sail right through it, right? Likely with this setup, I mean, you're gonna slow down because of that rear shock, of that DPS, Fox Float DPS. You're gonna start feeling the fade of the RockShox domain. This is what I mean by out of the box shreddability. You're gonna have to upgrade some of its components. And with that, I give this out of the box shreddability a C, because it is a big enduro bike with an 800 watt-hour battery, and you're gonna spec a Fox Float DPS for the rear shock. That's just not doing this bike any good. You're gonna have to swap out that Fox Float DPS. And as far as the total pricing at the original $5,900, I give this a D. These specs aren't that good for $6,000 bike. Not that great. And at the discount $5,000, there is some improvements, but I still would give this a C. To really push this bike from a C to a B with the given specs, it would have to put this bike at $4,500. $4,000 to $4,500, I would give this, okay, $4,500, I would give this bike a B. $4,000, I'd give this bike an A. I'm sure many of you out there are enjoying this bike, but with the suspension, you're gonna, with that suspension, you're definitely gonna feel it. For me, I'm not a pro rider, but I do like to ride a lot of chunky stuff. In a prolonged ride through chunky stuff, you're gonna feel that DPS start to fade and feel that RockShox domain start to fade. The pros of this bike is that 800 watt-hour battery, and then is that sync drive, 85 Newton meters of torque, updated geometry, flip chip, all the good stuff there. It's just those two specs. Ugh. So my recommendations on this bike: find this bike, $4,000, $4,500, $4,800. At $4,800, I think it's an okay buy. $4,500, it's a great buy. $4,000, just go ahead and buy it, right? Those are my recommendations for the price points if you do buy it. Other than that, on the component side, all right, you got to swap the shock out. And again, we'll go with the DVO because DVO does have the best bang, the best value for the price, and the best performance for the price. Since this is an enduro bike, I would probably go with the Jade, which is a coil shock, or the Jade X. And right now, DVO has a discount going on, the winter discount, 30% off. So you can likely find that Jade X with a coil at around $400. And for the fork, try and get the Charger 2.1. Again, I can't confirm if you can get the Charger 3 for the domain. So if any of you out there know that the Charger 3 fits the domain, let me know down in the comments so I can suggest that to our viewers. So with that Charger 2.1, you're looking at $300 plus $100 additional. Again, you're looking at $700. That might be proved to be okay with the setup because you have that 38mm stanchion. Right now, the Onyx, the newest Onyx 38 on DVO website is not discounted. Only the single crown Onyx, which is 36mm, is discounted at 30%. $1,100 if you decide to use the Onyx single crown, or $700 if you decide to upgrade the domain with the Charger 2.1 and go with the DVO suspension. Handlebars, very easy. Go with Spank Vibro cores, $115. Use Send a Frankie 15 to get 15% off on your purchase. Handlebars, it will improve your ride quality. Additional, you're looking at $1,300 to turn this bike into a killer performance machine. So if you see a deal at $4,000, $4,500, $4,800, snatch the bike up. 5,003 is a little bit high. I want to see this bike at 4,008, 4,005, so you can actually upgrade this bike and turn it into a performance machine. That is my take on this discount right now. Right now, in this current state, a lot of deals to be had. Shop around. Don't push this button too fast. But if you do find that deal, like I said earlier, 4,000, 4,005, go ahead and just go do it, because you still have some money to upgrade this bike. 800 watt-hour battery. That's just crazy. All day, every day riding. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. Hope this video has helped you with your Giant Rain E+3 purchase. Hit the like button if you found it useful. Use my affiliate links to purchase any of the components we talked about in this video, as it will directly help this channel. We'll be back with more bikes next week with more value series. See you on the next one. As always, stay electric. Peace.